Bastards. Today I want to talk about dangerous people in disasters or certain scenarios. So it's going to be about people you need to watch out for during stressful disasters, war. Name any survival situation. There are certain people you will need to keep an eye on. It's not always that simple because yeah, people can deceive and such. But with some cautiousness, you can try to weed them out a little bit. So I'm going. First of all, I want to say please subscribe if you find the time. It would help a lot to spread to make this channel more noticeable for other people so they can learn or get ideas. So just want to say that. All right, you will see me looking at my book. I wrote a chapter about this particular subject about dangerous people, uh, and I'm going to list them off so I don't miss anything. So that's why I'm going to look over there. Right. Um, what the first one is actually the most dangerous people, I would say. Yeah, not many people will agree with this, but I would say the most dangerous peoples in survival situations are parents. Yeah, not many people think about it, but if you try to place yourself in the foots of a parent, you will know you will do anything for your child so your child may live. So that means if your child is hungry, starving, or on the closing, dying of freezing, a parent will kill so their child will survive. They will even try. They will even try to. They will even. They will even not care if they die in the process themselves, as long as their children will keep on living. So that's something to think about. If you, if parents are at your door and asking for help, yeah, I would say give them a care package or something like in my video about emergency care packages, something that will send them off, but with enough so they don't come back, but not that too much that they will come that they will think you have more. So that's something to think about, and be very wary about yeah parents. I would say especially if their children are in desperate need. So just think about this concept, and you will see that a parents will can be a force to be reckoning with. The next thing are desperate people. Yeah, people who are not prepared. Um, these can be people who are actually cold, hungry, or in desperate need, or yeah, they. Some people will have some principles, but other people they will when they have a lower standard than other people when it comes to the time when they are going to do this, because some people will not try to steal or even rob, and in the worst case scenario murder people when they are desperate. But some people have higher degrees of that kind of discipline or morality than others, so you need to watch out for people who are, like I said, desperate, especially people who are actively seeking for help. What do I mean by that? If you are on the roads and in a survival situation like a natural disaster or war, and you see someone at the road who already starts to wave for help the moment they saw you, you got to be very careful about that, because it could be an ambush from desperate people who will seek out to rob you and steal your stuff. So yeah, I always say try to help people, but try to also keep an eye for danger, and be very wary and cautious when you approach such people, especially when they're, and try to look at the signs. Um, there are small signs you can watch, keep an eye on for when a person is saying that they are hungry or they're asking for in a similar way for help, and they look good nourished. That's already a red flag. That could mean that it's probably an ambush. Yeah, and what is another thing? Um, yeah, ambush. Oh, yeah, I'm very stupid. And try to listen to what they're saying. It's like I'm going to make another a video about this, but about interrogation techniques. If you learn something about interrogation techniques, you can find flaws in people's stories. You can find errors, contradictive information, or changing information when they need to repeat it. That's also a red flag for people when they ask for help. So at the one moment they say they have someone in need, and then next moment they phrase it in another way, or to be more to be more precise, they can also keep the same story like a repeating box. That's also red flag. So it's like they have learned sentences. So for to make up for a made up story. So that's also something to keep an eye on in when you meet desperate people. So try to help people, but be very cautious. And yeah, that's what I'm trying to say about this. All right, next, looters. Um, yeah, looters are, in a sense, not that dangerous, but they are a force to be reckoning with, especially when you have supplies of any kind. Because a looter is more, or we all think about people who will attack you for your supplies, but yeah, a looter. The most looters are not like that. That will come in the next uh, uh, persons I'm going to talk about. But a looter is usually somebody who takes advantage of the absence of law and police. So they will mostly attack shops or places where there are much supplies and such. So yeah, they could try to rob you, try to loot your house, but that's when there's nobody there. When you are in your house and you have something to defend yourself, most looters will back off unless they are very, very desperate. So that's also a thing to, yeah, to watch in the situation itself, because yeah, you don't want to you want to de-escalate the situation. Try to not shoot on sight. Give them a warning. Give them a chance to go away, and that way they will not have a reason to attack or rob you uh, after you scare them away. Because the moment you hurt somebody, they will then there is a social contract gone that there might be still left from in the crowd of the looters. So that's something to be very wary of. So yeah, only try to use violence as a self-defense the moment they step on the inside, and not when they are trotting around, because you don't want them to give a reason to overwhelm you. All right, next, gangs. This can be divided in two categories actually. The first one are the gangs, like organized crime, like the real criminals who do it as a living, to say. These are usually organizations that have weapons, have experience with violence, extortion, and other criminal activities. So they have usually some sort of a hierarchy, and they are usually well organized. And the thing of a real gang with a real good organization is that they are keep a watch for each other. These people in these type of gangs are very loyal to each other because they have internal rules and connections. So yeah, that's the thing. Gangs have a lot of connections. So yeah, a gang that is targeting you during a survival situation is a very dangerous thing. So I would advise to try to not mess with people that are in gangs. The moment they are trying to extort you, try that's something that you can do with an organized gang. And they try to extort you, like for supplies. You can perhaps try to make a deal, because you're a prepper, you have skills, and instead of giving away your supplies like they would do with perhaps other victims in the neighborhood, you can try to give your knowledge in exchange in exchange, so they don't loot or rob you. So you can in a way you can talk and bargain or deal with a real gang that is good organized. um, so with your knowledge, so they will people in the higher ups will perhaps try to strike a deal, and they will see the potential of your help or knowledge, and that way you can be safe living. You can be more safe if you live in an area where this gang is active and probably has a lot of how do you say this? So in a way, notoriety or control over the area, because we're talking about survival situations where the rule of law is gone. So in that way, try to try to make a deal instead of directly fighting back or try to run away. Because if you run away in a bug out, they will take your stuff anyway, and then you're out of your house or from your supplies. So that's not even worse. So that's what I'm trying to talk about. Trying to say about this point. Not many people will agree with this, but it's something that a lot of people who live in like in third world countries or in big cities, we have to deal every day with gang members, to say, or people of a criminal organization. They just cannot fight back. They cannot count on the police to, because they can be corrupt or will not be able to do something by law, if there is any law. So yeah, if you cannot beat them, try to join them in a way, or for the time now at least. I don't say you have to become a gang member, but it's, yeah, you cannot do on your own or with your family. You cannot do much, because yeah, they can try to target your in the extortion. They can try to, if you do not comply, they will perhaps not only harm you but also your family. um, if you are going to fight back or call the police and such. So that's something to think about. I know it might sound cowardless, but yeah, it's a very difficult dynamic when you live in a area with gangs. All right. The next part of gangs are what I call youth gangs. These are usually more like thugs. These are like just young young people who are starting to get into crime. They are not that organized. They usually don't have that much members. These are more people, the little gangs that are looting, that are would perhaps looting, do robberies, thieving, vandalism, or just violence, just for the sake of for the fun, like happy slapping. uh, this is what a gang where I would be more frightened of. Why? Because they don't have an hierarchy. They don't have a certain set of rules in within their organization. These are individuals who are just bind by perhaps an idea, or just the name, by the idea of a gang. So they are not organized. They don't have connections with suppliers or other people's. So they are much on their own, and they will be more tend to use violence, because they don't have an authority, because yeah, they are a small group that are not that good organized. So these are people you need to watch out for. And actually, these are the people who will you can fight back with, because like I said, they are usually not with many. They are bad organized, and for the moment you will, if they threaten you and you fight back, they usually look for they usually look for an easy target that will not defend himself. So with such gangs, youth gangs perhaps, you can scare them away with a warning shot, and in the worst case, you will have to harm them in self-defense, and they will give it up quickly. Organized gangs will not stand for it, because they will have a reputation to hold on, to not only to their organization but also to the people around. So that makes them, that makes youth gangs less of a danger, more of a danger than organized gangs. To say, it's what I'm trying to say. Uh, yeah. Next, marauders. This is something that many preppers are scared of. Marauders. These are, you can compare them with roaming gangs, during let's say during a big disaster. This can be a pack of criminals, perhaps a pack of desperate people, or a pack of rogue police or military that or deserters that are combining their power to rob. How do you say this? To do hit and run attacks to keep them to keep their supplies up, and for food and for other basic necessities, or just for money. These are usually the gang, not gangs, but a pack of people that will do ambushes, hit and run attacks. Yeah, they will come in, try to steal, and they will do everything about it. They will use violence, perhaps. They usually do. You can you can try to look at them as the Hun and other tactics that they use, like in the ancient time. So yeah, this marauder thing is less likely, but they are a force to be reckoned with because they will have more experience with assaults and quick hit and run attacks, and they will be very efficient at that. But the thing is, marauders are more a problem in or a bigger problem in the short run than in the long run, because if you have this kind of survival strategy of doing attacks on other people's with supplies, you will, with every attack, you can they will probably lose people that got shot or killed during the attack, and they will they will get wounded, that might get infected, and you cannot always be on the run. So they will be distrusted in every place that they have been or around, or just by the way that they are perhaps organized with their gear or weapons. So in the beginning, marauders are a big problem, but in the long term, they are being how do you say it, thinned out by fatigue and by losses. So yeah, in the beginning, marauders a problem. Next, conquerors. What do I mean by conquerors? These are like when the government is failing and there is a power vacuum. Let's think about in Iraq or Syria, where after the invasion of Iraq, there went a lot of control went lost in certain areas, and ISIS took control of that power vacuum. This is a good example of a conqueror. This is like a group of people or organization that are usually driven by a certain religion or a political ideology that will try to gain power by gaining control over people, territory, and they will try to defend it from outsiders like other like governments or authorities. So yeah, these are very dangerous people. They can be even be cults, anarchists, perhaps, uh, yeah, or big organized gangs like in Mexico, perhaps, like the cartels. These are the conquerors that will set their rule, that will set up a rule of law over the people. So that is very dangerous if you do not comply with that ideology, or if you are being targeted for persecution. So that's very dangerous in with this type of conquerors. Yeah, if we look at movie, if we a good example is somebody like Negan from The Walking Dead. He was a typical conqueror, a charismatic leader with who had control over a certain group, and they tried to extort certain places and set them under their control. That is just an example for yeah, about the conqueror. All right. Next, militaries. What do I mean by this? This can be divided in certain how do you say this, categories. The first one is regular soldiers, and I do not. In the first place, I mean, can mean like when your country has been invaded and enemy forces are taking control over your area. Yeah, it can be very dangerous to, yeah, because they will see you as always see you as hostile, because they took over they took over the territory where you live in. So they will know that you are not perhaps collaborating with them that easily, so they will keep seeing you as a target. That can be very dangerous of certain reasons. This can be like persecutions, purges, like we see in every civil war. or theocratic states that have been conquering another state and such. So that's something to watch out for, especially in theocratic or hardcore political factions that will take over in by military force. So yeah, we think about genocide perhaps if you do not fit in their ideology. We have seen this many times in history. The Nazis during World War II, in Rwanda during the genocide, and these are just two examples, but there are many more. I can assure you that. Yeah, the one more, the Russian Revolution of the Bolsheviks, which was the civil war in Russia in the beginning of the century. That's also something where many civilians died because parties took over control over certain areas, and they were not seen as collaborators. So look it up in the history, and you will know what I mean. The next thing is how do I say this? Military of your own government. If there is war in your country, it's possible that the there will be military patrolling around, and perhaps be stationed in your village or by for a certain time. That can be very dangerous in a way, even though they are friendly forces, because there are several dangers about these. First of all, if you live nearby a military camp, when there are bases, or even when you're standing a few meters away from a military patrol or a vehicle, you are in danger that you can be hit by a lost bullet, just because they were firing upon the soldiers, a rickshot, perhaps a bombardment by artillery, plane bombs, a drone strike, rocket strike, perhaps a grenade that landed wrong. You can be collateral damage if you are nearby friendly forces, is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, not only by lost bullets that were fired upon the friendly forces, but also by the friendly forces, because it happened a lot that civilians were shown as enemy combatants during the heat of fight, because soldiers get stressful. They will sometimes assume that the area has been evacuated, so they will see every other person as a potential hostile combatant. So that's something you need to watch out for. So try to avoid soldiers as much as possible, and try to not draw their attention. Do not try to look like like a possible combatant. So that's something you need to watch out for. The next thing is anti guerrilla actions. When friendly forces are suspecting that sympathizants or partisans or people who are collaborating with the enemy forces are present in the area, or guerrilla fighters, they will perhaps see you, even though you're a civilian of their forces. They will probably they can see you as a potential hostile. So yeah, that can be lead to house searches, curfews, where you cannot walk in the dark without being arrested or sometimes even being shot. They can go into your house, raid your house, and see if there are weapons, or try to arrest you and to check your identity, checkpoints and such. So those are all things that can be can be hostile even by friendly forces. And the last thing is of the military are war crimes. Uh, these are by friendly forces and also by enemy forces. What do I mean by that? Some soldiers are just people, and in war, the soldiers are just people, and they stand under a lot of stress. They can never feel safe because every time on the battlefield, or wherever they are, they can be struck by a drone, by artillery, by a bomb, by a plane, a rocket, a sniper, perhaps a spy, or a guerrilla fighter that is hiding in the crowd, suicide bombers, all those things. So they are very stressed, is what I'm trying to say. So soldiers who are not that disciplined, or are a little bit far away, or have PTSD, or have other psychological problems because of the stress of war, they can get out of line. They can, in revenge or without thought, kill a civilian, either by enemy forces or even friendly forces. They can get drunk and they can get drunk on a leave and try to use their status as a soldier to get some control over the civilian, to steal something, to rape, or to just be a dick. Those are things that soldiers can do, and they have the weapons, they have the power to do it. So that's something you need to try to avoid at all costs. Yeah, that is what I'm trying to say. And unfortunately, those war crimes are not always being punished by the friendly or forces or their officers. And even after the war, if you know who did the war crime, it's very hard to get judgment about that. All right. Next, yeah, fake uniform. This is something that I said in the beginning about. Yeah, this could be marauders or desperate people. These are people who are trying to use a form of authority to get things in a survival situation. These are criminals in fake uniforms, deserted police and military units that went rogue, and they will try to lure people into a false sense of safety. This does not mean that they always will attack or ambush people for their stuff, but it can just be something simple like setting up a roadblock and control do like a checkpoint and check every person that wants to get through or over a bridge or something, and just ask for a fee or a bribe to let them through. That's something that happens in a lot of totalitarian societies, and even in war situations, when, like I said before, with the with people, soldiers who do war crimes. So that's something you need to watch out for. If people are holding you back, try to check if they are legit. Is what I'm trying to say, because yeah, they can give you a fake feel of security that they come to rescue you, come to give you information or try to help you, but they are actually abusing a fake or a real uniform. Is what I'm trying to say. All right. Next, other preppers. Um, yeah, because other preppers can be a danger. And what do I mean by that? I'm guessing most preppers are just good people who try to want to do good, but we all know those preppers who live in fear, have very big insecurity, and who are not dirty because in peace normal times they were outcasts. Perhaps they were being laughed at, or they were not that successful in life or in job or in relationships or something, and they think they will be top dog in a survival situation, so they prep and they will try to use that to abuse a certain power over people, or they will, like with the marauders, try to use their skills, weapons, their supplies to rob, steal, or maraud other people. Yeah, these are very few preppers that will do, but I can assure you, a certain percentage, small percentage of preppers will try to use these tactics. Is what I'm trying to say. We can see this in movies or games like the paranoid prepper who snipes everyone who comes nearby their bug out location or their bug in location. So that's something you need to watch out for. Yeah, next thing, uh, addicted people with addiction problems. Yeah, we live in a time where a lot of people are very dependent on medicines. We think about painkillers, psychotics, medicine, antipsychotics. I mean, um, drugs. Yeah, and not and by drugs we can see a whole lot, a whole wide of variety. Drugs can be hard drugs like cocaine or something. Soft drugs like marijuana. We can think about sugar, caffeine, alcohol. Um, even addictions like gaming, uh, sex or sex addiction. Those are all things that people can addicted to, and people who are addicted and don't get their fix, they will get annoyed. They will get violent. They will get physical. They will try. They will get. They will try to find a way to get their fix. And I'm talking about people who have real addiction problems. Yeah, that can be a real problem if that's somebody you love, like a friend, your partner, a family member who is very addicted and need their fix. They can be a real problem. So either you try to lessen their addiction, or they have to go cold turkey, which can be very dangerous in a survival situation. Yeah, they can do very stupid things. They will can get aggressive, and they will perhaps be less effective in survival strategies. So they will fuck up. Try to learn about how to handle with people, how to handle in psychology with people who have withdrawals or have addiction, and you can try to put those points. I will make a video about it perhaps later on, but that is what I'm trying to say about people with addiction. Be very careful with them, and try to help them to get over their addiction or try to manage it. Next, people with psychiatric problems. Yeah, a lot of people in the modern time have psychological problems. They can have depressions, bipolar disorder. They can be a they can have a whole variety of psychological problems or psychiatric problems. Yeah, that can be very difficult. We think about ADHD, uh, people who are perhaps in a way autistic. Yeah, those are those are all conditions that can make a survival situation very hard, because yeah, these people will not function well. They have a problem functioning in a society where they are being taken care of with professional medical help, professional counselors, psychologists, psychiatrists that will describe medicine to them. And yeah, then they can be managed in a more efficient than they would be out. But imagine in a survival situation when there is less food, less no professionals to help them. uh, yeah, it will be very hard for more harder for those people, because yeah, they will have a lot of problems handling the situation or coping with it. And especially with a family member, if it's my family members, your kids, your wife, perhaps your friends, family members, yeah, they will they will have a very difficult time, is what I'm trying to say. So especially when they are on medications, so try to get a stock of medication if you have such people in your inner circle. And try to watch out for people who are not in your inner circle, who perhaps have medical problems. If you know somebody in the neighborhood is a schizophrenic, and is trying to acting weird, try to keep distance, try to de-escalate the situation, try to use some psychological tricks, tips, such to get them away without confrontation, is what I'm trying to say. If they are not in your inner circle, yeah, it's very hard to do, but these are things that we are going to deal with it, because a lot of people have psychological problems, and in a survival situation they will have it hundred times harder than they would in a normal functional society. All right. Next, yeah, psychopaths and sociopaths. Yeah, these are the peoples who have no remorse, who have no empathy, and they will just they are very unpredictable. They can rob you without remorse. They will play a character and they will rob you blind while they're doing it. They These are the people you will not expect. They are wolves in sheep clothes. Yeah, these can be very dangerous, because in a survival situation, yeah, they can try to abuse trust of people. Some of these people are very, how do I say this, very they can be very good actors, is what I'm trying to say. So they can try to take advantage of you and just go away or do something terrible without giving a blink. uh yeah, so that's something to watch out for. And yeah, these are very hard to detect. uh Next thing, uh femme fatales. What do I mean by this? These are women who are using their looks, who are using their gender, and who are using the promise of intimacy for their survival in a way. Uh, yeah, this happens a lot. This can be just people who just can how do you say this, get into a relationship or get intimate with you just for your till your supplies are run dry, and then they just take off without blinking an eye, which can happen. Or they will just try to use their looks or promises of intimacy to get something done, and then don't look back after you. So the biggest problem with this is you cannot trust such a person. Yeah, that is what I'm trying to say. Be very carefully, because the woman you're trying to help is perhaps a good actress. Is what I'm trying to say. Uh, so be very careful about that. The next thing, uh, what I want to say about femme fatales, yet again, they can also be, how do I say this? Scouts for criminals, so they can try to get shelter in exchange for sexual favors or something. But in the same time, they can look around to see what stuff you got, and they can get a map of the house, of your defenses, of your security, of how many people live there, who what your personality is, and they can and go back the next day and tell it all about to criminals who will plan to rob you. Like yeah, that's something to watch out for in a survival situation. Next, these are, I would call them con men. What do I mean by this? These are the people whose only skill is organizing. These are people who cannot produce anything. They are smooth talkers. I'm talking about managers, CEOs, people who have been leaders, who have leading jobs, or people who are very narcissistic. These are just con men, I would say, because they can only they only have their tongue, is what I'm trying to say, a smooth tongue to say the things that you want to hear, try to get to try to get things of you with promises, with empty promises. Yeah, so that's something you really need to watch out for. They will probably try to make a deal, and when that deal fails, they are nowhere to be found, or they will try to blame other people. And these are people who are very, like I said, they are smooth tongues. They can bullshit their way out of any situation. They can talk to one person, try to know their weak spots, try to say what they want to hear, and then a minute later they can say the other thing to other people, or try to put people together. So these are people you need to watch out for. People who have no real skills to contribute to us to a community or to you for a survival or for a bargain. So yeah, that's something you really need to watch out for. And as last, these are people I like to call the quitters, the people who give up, the doomers. Yeah, really, we have lived in a for in a whole century of people who lived in abundance. We have a certain we have lived in a certain lifestyle, and yeah, it's now starting to break off less and less. But yeah, the people these are people who can bring down a group in their morality. I'm talking about pessimists who are always negative about the situation. They uh, they just cannot say something positive, and that can have an effect on the group, on the survival group that you're going to make, your mock group. I will make a video about mock groups in the future, so that's something to watch out for. Uh, the people who are, how do I say this, who are defeatists. These are people who just give up. You cannot put them to work. You cannot put them to work. You cannot try to talk some inspiration into them. They just give up. They just don't want to do anything. In a way, these are people who are in a way depressed. It is what I'm trying to say. It's like, yeah, they're medically depressed, and you can. It's very hard to get people to do something, and especially in survival situations, you cannot have mistakes. You cannot have people who half-assing stuff. Yeah, these are in a way leeches, but yeah, if it's somebody you really know, that can be a very hard situation, especially if somebody who has been depressed and probably need medication or professional guidance. So that can be very difficult. Um, what is another kind of quitter? Like I said, people with depression, um, people who are how do I say this? Who are privileged, who feel privileged. We all know those spoiled people, perhaps spoiled students, people who have a lot of money, who don't have the same worries as a normal worker. Is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, these are people who are will try to complain about that they want more, or they want something better, or they are always complaining about the lesser situation. Is what I'm trying to say. And this can will turn into fights, in arguments, in bringing down the morale of the group. So these are annoying people. Is what I'm trying to say. uh, yeah, they will try to avoid or refuse work or tasks that they think that is beneath them. So yeah, that will break the trust between those people and the group. So that's also something that you will need to watch out for in a survival situation. Yeah, you can try you can do two things about these kind of people. You can give them a period where they can learn to adapt. So you can how do you say this? You can try to stand for their bullshit till they are turning around, till they are making that click inside of their brain that things are not like they used to be. Or you can just try to how do I say it? Cold turkey, just make it clear from stop your bullshit or there will be problems. They will after perhaps one punch, they will after if they're making it really hard for the group, they will start to realize, is what I hope. uh yeah, don't use violence, but sometimes a good smack can bring somebody into reality. um yeah, these are just the same people who are in denial. What kind of people are these? These are people that perhaps believe that things are getting normal. We all know, we all seen this during the pandemic. People will say, "Ah, there is no virus. Oh, there will soon get a vaccine. Oh, they will send help. Oh, the government will save us. No worries." These are the people who will who will not realize the gravity of the situation, and that can be very dangerous towards the group, and also annoying, because it can create doubt about the gravity of the situation. Some people in your survival group will perhaps start to doubt about the words. They will start to get troubles between members of the group, because yeah, perhaps he's right, perhaps she's right. Yeah, but I would always try to say to those people, try to live more frugal, but always be prepared for the worst. Is what what I would say to them. All right, this was my last on the list. There are probably a few more, so give you let me know in the reactions if you think I forgot a certain group of people that might be form a danger in survival situations or certain scenarios, and how to handle them, perhaps. Subscribe, and all that good stuff. Like, what else? Yeah. So I would say I hope you learned something from this video. Give you some ideas about what to watch out for, or to think about the situation. Try to get into other people's shoes, to say, to project how you would dig over yourself, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. So thank you for watching. Cheers, and see you in the next video.